All right, so if you've ever been on a home search, you probably know the listing photos can be crazy misleading. So in this video, I'm going to talk about some ways you can tell the difference between quality construction and a crappy flip. And that's coming up right now. Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Living in Atlanta. I made this channel specifically to help individuals and families understand what Atlanta is like and figure out where they may want to live. My name is Marc Brenner. I run a real estate team here in Atlanta called the Brenner Real Estate Group, and we would love if you reached out. We have people reaching out all the time to help buy or sell a home in the Atlanta area. We absolutely love it. So all of our contact information is in the description below. Feel free to call, text, send an email, or even better, book an appointment directly using the Calendly link in the description below. All right, so if you're on your home search, or even if you just like to play around on Zillow, which a lot of people do, if you've ever actually seen a home in person, I'm quite sure you've probably had the experience of the home itself looking nothing like the listing photos. And this can not only be frustrating, but it really can waste a lot of time both for yourself and the realtor. If you guys are going around looking at places that are absolutely not possibilities, then you're missing out on the good stuff. But how can you really tell, right? I mean, if this isn't your full-time job, you're not a contractor, what do you look for? Is there a way to tell just from the photos and the listing if a home is really worth your time checking out? So obviously I do this every day. Look at listing photos, read listing descriptions, go look at houses. So I can really get a sense right from the listing if a home is going to be a winner or if it's going to be a cross-off right off the bat. So I thought it might be helpful if we do some MLS searching together. We're going to get in front of the computer. I'm going to share my screen with you. We're just going to look at some listings. I'm going to tell you what I look for, red flags, positive signs, what to look for when you're looking for quality, and what really stands out when you see crappy flips or just homes that have issues or listings that you want to have nothing to do with. So let's get right into it. Let's go look at some listings. All right, so let's look at a few listings online like you probably would, and I'll talk about some of the things that I look for. Now, like I said before, this is very difficult, so it's not like I'm saying you can tell quality just from the pictures alone. The pictures can be very misleading, but what I want you to take away from this is that keeping your non-negotiables in mind as you look at this will save you a lot of time. Everything from a feature of a home to the actual location, making sure there is no thing that would completely eliminate it from your possibles list prior to going to see it will obviously save you a ton of time, and it will allow more time for you to move quickly on a home that does match your criteria. So we'll start off on Zillow, since that's probably the most common way you all will be looking at homes. Now, like I was saying, one of the most important indicators of the quality of a home will be the quality of the photos. Oftentimes, when people are trying to cut corners in selling their home, one of the ways is to pay less to a listing agent. And because they pay less, the listing agent will not put as much effort or money into the listing and marketing. So you've got cell phone photos, unprofessional photos, and just not a lot of work or professionalism in the listing. And that can often, not always, but often be indicative of the type of seller and how likely they are to have taken care of their home. So for instance, you can see in this first listing I pulled up, These are not quality listing photos. They look like they're probably cell phone photos. They're not bright, high definition, or well angled, well framed, which is what you want. You have a blurry photo. So it's understandable in this case because this is a fixer-upper. This is a property that needs a lot of rehab. But this is something you will see commonly in other listings, even ones that are supposed to be shiny and new. You'll see some with cell phone photos and just very unprofessional photos and description. And that's often one of the main indicators it may be one you want to skip. Now, if you're a real estate investor looking for a home to flip or remodel and rent out, that may be exactly what you're looking for. So to compare it, we can look at this listing. And here you have a listing with very high quality photos. Obviously, this is a luxury listing. I just pulled it quickly for an example. So you have bright, well-lit photos. This looks either staged or lived in, but the presentation is very nice. Everything is centered well, high definition, and these are just very high quality photos. And that would be the first indication to me that this is a property that probably has been well maintained and taken care of. So those are some positive examples. And when you're looking at these listings, like I said, you want to have your non-negotiables in mind. Okay, so whether it's the layout, the beds, bath size, obviously, but if it's a certain feature of the home that you know you couldn't live with, you probably check that off the list. You can look at this photo and think, okay, if I don't like that color, I'm probably going to have to paint it or put a different wallpaper up. Am I willing to do that? But overall, this is obviously a home that's in very good condition, recently remodeled. Let's look at another listing I've pulled up. I'm in the MLS now because it's a little easier for me to navigate. So you have a listing in Alpharetta at a very low price point. This is not a high definition photo. And the reason why I pulled this one up is because a lot of times you'll see homes like this. There's, especially in the suburbs of Atlanta, a lot of homes built in the early 2000s. They'll have a very similar type of look. And it's going to be informative for how much work you could potentially have to do. So you can see these, this cabinetry flooring is probably original to when the home was built in the early 2000s. They are not hardwood floors, not real hardwood floors. So are you okay with that? Is that something you're going to remodel yourself? They do have granite countertops and all the appliances. So the appliances are a big one, especially in newer flips. You'll often see they don't include a fridge. And sometimes they don't have any appliances there at all, which to me is a red flag. It means they're trying to save a buck or cut corners. But the fridge is probably the most common that is not always in the home or included with the purchase of the home. So that is fairly common. So, if you bought this home, this looks definitely move-in ready or livable, but if you don't like that green, you're going to have to do some painting. If you don't like the finish on the cabinets, you'll be sanding and finishing them or paying someone to do it. And if you don't like these floors, you'll need to get them replaced. So is that all work you're willing to do at this price point? Or are you in a place where you need something more updated? Only you can answer that question. But you wouldn't want to walk into this house thinking because it's clean and orderly, it's updated. Okay, you've got carpet in the bedrooms. Are you okay with that? It looks like it's in good shape. Some people don't like carpet, some people do. And you can see this is a very basic listing with no upgrades, but it's livable. That might be working great for you, but you need to not go into this home thinking there's not going to be any work that needs to be done. So you've got a purple painted room. So are you willing or have the money to paint that? And the bathrooms look very similar to a lot of the bathrooms you'll see in the early 2000s in the suburbs of Atlanta. It's very basic, livable, clean. It even looks well maintained, but again, not updated like you'll see in a higher price point. You get a lot of paint in this listing that you're going to need to change, and maybe other things. Okay, so back to Zillow. Good flips versus crappy flips. There are a lot of crappy flips on the market, and you cannot always tell from the listing photos, but here are some things that I look for. Now this looks like a pretty good flip to me. It's at a higher price point. You can see right off the bat these are high definition photos that are high quality, taken by a professional. You can see we've got real hardwood floors, shiplap accents, exposed wood beams, floating shelving, even electric fireplace, which is not expensive, but looks fairly tasteful there. And you've got very nice vanities, separate vanities, new, painted with that gold finish, which is very popular right now. Another thing I look for in a quality property or a quality flip is, does the shower or shower tub combo have its own glass enclosure? You'll see a lot of shower tub combos and even showers like this without any glass around it. It can be easy to overlook, but obviously you'll need either some kind of shower curtain or be prepared to install glass yourself. So that's an easy one that people often miss. It's like a very good quality deck, recently finished and stained and painted. Good quality, landscaping in the yard. So overall, this looks like what I would describe as a good quality flip. See, the kitchen has a nice backsplash, granite or quartz countertops, nice floors. It's got all the appliances, the vents hood. So here, for instance, it doesn't look like there's glass here, so the intention may be a shower curtain or glass if you wanted it. But these are all things you have to keep in mind that you may have to do. And this is a nicer sliding barn door with the appropriate hardware, which honestly, often they don't have. So overall, I would describe this as a quality renovation. Let's look at another example. So looking at another example, this is in my neighborhood. So these look like some issues right off the bat that if you don't look at the photos carefully enough, you might miss. You have the post here looks displaced and off center. Not sure what that's about. And these photos don't look very quality. They don't necessarily look like cell phone photos, but these are not quality listing photos. And that would generally give me not a good first impression of this listing, and often is indicative of the owner and the listing agent. You've got a shower again without the glass enclosure. I'm not sure what's going on here with this vanity in this space. That's kind of hard to make out. Looks like it could be a very unusual layout. So this photo tells you a lot. Do you like these floors? They're not real hardwood. They're, a cheaper vinyl, which can be good for a renter if you're an investor, but you may not like the look of it when you're in the home. You have carpet, which many people don't like. Cheap light fixtures, very large, kind of like a scratch and dent style fridge, and a very small island. There is granite, and that looks like induction back there, which isn't bad. But this is what I would describe typically as a bit of a cheaper flip. They came in here, cleaned it, probably put this granite in, this island in, did a little kitchen renovation, made sure the carpet was clean or new, made sure everything was painted and clean, and that's pretty much it, which is fine as long as you know what you're getting. And if this is not what you're looking for, then there's no reason to see this at all. Okay. All right, so going back to Zillow real quick, this map function, which is down here, is going to be one of the most important tools for you to decide if a house is worth looking at. And it's very underutilized, but you should always look at this before you schedule an appointment to see a home. If you don't want to live directly off a very major busy street, you need to make sure the house doesn't sit off one. So you can see if you lived right off Lucille, which you don't in this case, but this is why the map function is great. If you lived in this home right off Lucille, or even worse, if you lived in one of these homes right in Ralph David Abernathy, now that may be fine for someone, but a lot of clients don't like the busy traffic right outside their home. I personally don't. I have clients who it doesn't bother at all. But this is a big time saver, especially if you consider like a body of water or a park. It could be a positive thing for you, you know, in looking at relation to where you're at, like let's say in the belt line. This is the belt line, so you can see that could be something you're really looking for. This essentially backs up into the belt line, which is obviously very desirable. You may not want that, but really for the map function, it's for your major roads, bodies of water, parks, things you do and don't want to be around. Now, the other important thing you can look at, which this isn't a great example of, but the slope of the lot. Typically, you want everything graded away from the house. For instance, you don't want a hill back here that slopes towards your backyard. If it rains, all that is going to be headed towards your basement. You always want to keep water away from intruding into your home. Ideally, you would get a flat lot like this, or at least a lot where the topography is graded so that it slopes away from your home, so that the water is kept away. Now you have retaining walls and things like that, so it's not necessarily a deal breaker, but it's another thing you should be looking at when you view a listing. The lot and how the land is graded on your property. And if it is graded towards your home, if things are sloping towards your home, there's going to need to be some solid drainage, French drain, pump system to waterproof your basement maybe. There's a lot of water mitigation techniques, but depending on how big the problem is. So you can't tell all that from photos, but you can take all this information collectively and decide if it's a home that you want to see or not. All right, so just to recap, we look for things like the quality of the photo, high definition, light-filled photos. In the photos, we are looking at each of the rooms and making sure that it fits our buy box, that there's nothing that would cross it off the list for us in order to save time. We're looking at the quality of the floors, the quality of the fixtures, are all of the appliances there. Obviously, we're looking at the layout of the home. We're looking at the map. We're pulling up the map and seeing if it's near a major road or body of water or anything that would cause us concern or excitement. We're looking at the slope of the actual land on your lot, if it's graded away or towards your home. And that's pretty much it. Doing all of those things should be able to at least save you some time and not see properties that don't fit what you're looking for. So hope that was helpful for you to take going forward. All right, everyone. So there you have it. A few simple, quick tips to differentiate maybe some quality listings for some ones you want to completely avoid. I hope that was informative for you, and I really hope it saves you some time so that you can focus on getting in a house you actually love. Again, my name is Marc Brenner, and our real estate group here is Brenner Real Estate Group. Please feel free to reach out anytime. We would love to connect with you. Until my next video, please hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.